Good morning and welcome to day 2 of Radio Roll live in Los Angeles. We have an interesting show for you this morning. Joining us today, Roy Kessel, myself, with Chris Draft, Legends Community, and Heidi and Pierre to talk about breast cancer and the work that they're doing. Lung cancer. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Let's say that. Lung cancer. All right, let's talk about lung cancer, guys. Chris, how did you get started in this program?
So the Heidi Pierre here. Oh, my bad. Now you guys can hear me. We're live, so there's a little glitch in the matrix. Uh, so my wife Keisha was diagnosed with lung cancer in December of 2010. So how did I get involved with the lung cancer community? It wasn't that I was like, hey, I want to be involved in the lung cancer community. Hey, I'm done playing in the NFL. Let me get involved with the lung cancer community. It wasn't that. It was that my wife, 37 years old, in amazing shape, gets diagnosed. She had a little shortness of breath. Goes into her primary care doc, and he gets some antibiotics, chest X-ray, and next thing you know, she has a mass in her left lung. A couple of weeks later, we find out she has stage 4 lung cancer, and we found, we now know the most important fact of lung cancer that anyone can get it. We also found out that too often it's diagnosed late stage, so she was stage 4 lung cancer, and unfortunately, based on that diagnosis the fact that she couldn't be on some of the newer therapies, she ended up passing away a year later. And she passed away a year later, but before she passed, we had a chance to get married. So we got married November 27, 2011. And on that day, we made two commitments: one to the lung cancer community, and the other one to each other. Like this amazing opportunity to be there together. But before that day, my wife asked. She said, "What if we don't get presents? What if we ask our family and friends to support the foundation, the Chris Draft Family Foundation, so we can establish an initiative that is focused on." And it wasn't specific at that time, but really just addressing lung cancer. It grew into, after her passing, into changing the face of lung cancer. And so, she passed again December 27, 2011. And I had to ask myself, a few questions and be really honest. And I think it's so important as we're doing lung cancer advocacy to ask those questions. And when you hear from Heidi and Pierre that are here, or the founders, co-founders of the White Ribbon Project, you'll understand that they've done that work. And that first question is, could I accept that anything that I did, it wasn't going to bring my wife back? I mean, so it's not about her. The work is not about her. Could I be happy for people that are doing well? So there's a lot of things that are going to happen, a lot of innovation that has happened over these last 10 years, so much innovation. But can I be happy for the people that are benefiting from that? And then the other one, are we willing to fight for it? I mean, really to go after it. So to know that there are things that have changed, it's important and it's good. But are you willing to fight so that all the people that can benefit from it get it, right? And so that's So why am I here? Played in the NFL for 12 years, have a tremendous, this tremendous platform. My wife danced in the NBA, so another platform, and a platform is nothing without a message. So what is the message? That anyone can get lung cancer, that prevention is not enough. Early detection, treatment, research, and survivorship matters regardless of smoking history, regardless of who you are. We got you. And we have to celebrate our victories, man. Every time we have a chance to move forward, that means that somebody's life has changed, and either quality of life or extending their lives. And so for me, I'm going to celebrate it. I'm going to come here to the Super Bowl and celebrate it and scream and yell at the highest level. And I got a chance to be here with Heidi and Pierre, the White Ribbon Project, that they are this amazing group, this force that have understood and grabbed a hold of that challenge of celebrating life, of celebrating possibilities, and celebrating the changes that are happening. And that's really what embodies the White Ribbon Project. So, Kayla, is it okay if my people that are down here in LA, if they share Heidi and Pierre? Heidi, who is co-founder with Pierre of the White Ribbon Project, but then the other thing is she got a jersey on. She's got a Rams jersey, and it's not that she's just biased because it's the Super Bowl. She's got a Rams jersey on because she is a crucial catch captain. So she was on the field waving around, and she is a representative of the cancer community and has done just a tremendous job. So, hey, with that said, Heidi and Pierre.
Fantastic.
Well, thank you so much for having us today. We're honored to be able to share our story.
Um, about 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with stage 3A lung cancer just out of the blue. I didn't have any symptoms, and being a lifelong health enthusiast, health educator, and fitness trainer, and my husband, a primary care physician, we were just blown away. And we learned a lot that we didn't know because lung cancer wasn't on our radar. That it is the number one cancer killer, kills more than breast, prostate, and colon cancers combined. It kills more women every year than breast cancer since 1987. And how come we didn't know about it if we were trained in prevention? And as Lung Cancer Awareness Month was approaching in 2020, not only myself, but advocates across the country, we were asking our cancer centers, what are you going to do for Lung Cancer Awareness Month in November? And basically, we were all getting the same answer. They had no plans. And I just got really frustrated one day, and I just asked Pierre, we can just do our own thing, and could you please make me a big white ribbon out of wood, because that's a hobby he took up when I got diagnosed, put it on our front door, and I could literally scream from my front door that I had lung cancer. I could teach my community, at least the person who delivered mail or packages to our house would see it, and no one could stop me. I didn't need to ask permission to start talking about lung cancer.
Yeah, I mean, and me being a primary care physician, I mean, I was surprised that I didn't know enough of the facts about lung cancer. And so now part of what I want to do is to educate primary care physicians. There is a screening test for lung cancer for people with a history of smoking. If you have a certain amount of pack years of smoking, you should talk to your doctor to find out whether or not you qualify for screening. Breast cancer screening, it's great. It's up to close to 80-90%, depending on the communities. And colon cancer, 65% screening rates. Lung cancer is 6%. And so we're missing a lot of people. And part of what we're learning, and we're appreciative of the NFL, we're appreciative of the Rams, because we want to learn how to build a team. How do you build a team, in effect, to change the course of lung cancer, to improve screening rates, to improve treatments? And so that's what we're about.
So tell us for a minute, you talk about the screening rate being 6%. That's shockingly low, right?
Yes.
When we talk about all of the other types of screenings that are out there, what is there a reason it's so low? Is that based on cost? What are the logistical challenges of setting up more screening?
It's a complex problem, but I think, again, the availability of the screening test has been out now for several years. The guidelines promoting lung cancer screening in the United States and other countries has been out for many years. Part of the problem, I think, is that not enough people who are eligible for screening know about it. And that's why we are really trying to promote it. Look, if you have, at least for right now, if you have a history of smoking, you should talk to your doctor about whether or not you qualify. But we also know that people without a history of smoking can get lung cancer. So what do? Well, if you have a family history, if you've been exposed to radon gas, which is a radioactive gas that can seep into homes, you should also talk to your physician about what should you do to reduce your risks.
Yeah, and I'm actually just quite shocked. When we started learning about lung cancer risk factors, I did not have a smoking history, and I didn't know anything about radon until our son, who's an environmental engineer, asked us what was the radon level of the house. So we found out, we tested, it was high, and we'll never know what truly caused it. But what came to my mind was, when I started doing more research, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. So where is the public service announcement about this? Where is the national campaign? How are people getting educated about how to test their home? And if they do, that they can mitigate it, and it doesn't cost a ton of money.
Yes. So
it's doable.
Yeah. So back to your question, right? Yes. One problem is patients don't know about the test. Most women know that there's a mammography for breast cancer screening. Most men know that they can get screened for prostate cancer and colon cancer as well. The other problem is physicians. Many primary care physicians do not have the systems or the other support infrastructure that they need in order to make lung cancer screening easy for their patients. And to some extent, I think many people unfortunately believe that if you have risk factors, if you have a history of smoking, somehow, you brought it on yourself. We are so against that. Smoking is an addiction. I've been a primary care physician for over 30 years. I do not know one patient who did not want to try to stop. My mother had a long history of smoking. I saw her try to quit. It was an addiction. It's very hard.
Well, and even if it is brought on, it's something that we still need to treat, right? So many places around the world, people have things that they may bring on themselves. We don't just sit there and say suffer because you did that. But I want to go back to Heidi's point on radon, because I think that's critical. Like in Illinois, it's required to have a radon examination for any property that's transferred. That's got a below grade level. And so that's just a mandatory requirement. And yet, as you said, very few people really understand what it is and recognize that even if you do need to remediate it, it's, $1,000, maybe a couple $1,000 problem. It's not tens of thousands of dollars
Correct.
to deal with.
Or life-threatening problem.
The number 2 cause of lung cancer. Yeah.
As we're talking about those things, it really comes back to awareness. So Heidi said that she didn't know. Well, literally, that's what awareness is. And so as a lung cancer community, we have to decide what are the things that we want people to know, right? We have to be intentional on getting that done. And so unfortunately, historically for lung cancer, the only thing that we told people about is getting people to stop smoking. Now, that is a tremendous campaign that is the greatest public health campaign ever. Right. And so so many people all over the place, they know about it. It was infused in their school systems everywhere. They know it. But the problem is when we recognize and not just recognize, but recognize it through 1998, a cigarette settlement, tobacco master settlement, where the cigarette industry actually got indicted for $200 billion. And with that settlement, it made it clear that someone who smoked, it really is absolutely an addiction, but not an addiction that they did just by themselves. That literally there was a lot of help in attacking young people, middle school, and getting them addicted early on, and then also making the cigarettes more addicting. So it made it that much harder for them to quit. And so when we ask the question, should you care about somebody who has smoked? Literally, we've already answered that question. We answer that question very loudly and put money on it that says yes, yes, yes. It's not their fault. And so it's critical as we go out, and that's what these white ribbons are about. I mean, you saw that, man. Pierre made that ribbon, and Heidi put it up, and she said, make me a big ribbon. But what is that? They're able to, with that ribbon, be able to scream out to all these survivors and let them know, do not be ashamed. Heidi said that a number of times. It says, hey, we are here with you. Don't be ashamed of this disease. History might have said that you should, it's your fault, it's this, but also history tells us that it's not. History says you were taken advantage of, and the history is there's always an opportunity to be able to change. So right now we have to make it clear, we have to make it plain that our survivors absolutely do matter, right? Well, you have to question about lung cancer screening. So if our survivors matter, then that means that you have to take action. Taking action is absolutely in terms of getting people to stop smoking. Yes, absolutely. Understanding radon awareness. Otherwise, again, our people don't matter. It is making sure we're encouraging healthy lifestyles. That has to matter in terms of the community. But we need early detection. Pierre said screening. If our primary care docs don't know about it, is it really a priority? No, it's not. If our ER docs don't know about it, if all the our OB, do they know about it? It's not going to get done. Do our community health workers? Heidi is a community health worker. That's what she did. If they don't know about it, who tells the community that it does matter? And then there's nodule clinics that are critical where somebody gets into a nodule, when somebody happens to come in for something else and they find out that they have a nodule. We need to follow that. That's one of the best ways of early detection. We have new treatments right now through target therapy, immunotherapy. People have seen those commercials. The people that can benefit from those, I mean, it's been amazing. Heidi can tell her story. She's one of those ones benefiting from immunotherapy. That's why she is here. And I had her out, she's going to be running around, the experience. She might be running around this Wounded Warriors game. She's doing well, right? Man, she's ready to go. And then just research. We have to be unapologetic about the fact that research does matter. And not only does it matter, but it works. Over the last few years, lung cancer's had more drugs approved than any other cancer, right? That is something that we have to go to the mountaintop. And this is the mountaintop, the Super Bowl, and scream and yell about. And then the why does it matter? It matters because of our survivors. I mean, if it's not them, then it doesn't matter. It's about our survivors. That's why we're fighting, and we have to be excited about it, and we have to celebrate.
So, Chris, you brought up some great points, and we're here today again, broadcasting live from Radio Row on location at the Super Bowl Convention Center here with NFL legend Chris Draft, Heidi, and Pierre talking about the White Ribbon Project, lung cancer awareness. Chris, you held up that lung cancer awareness ribbon. I'm going to ask you to do that again. Thank you so much. Heidi, Pierre, tell us about the White Ribbon Project and how it got started, please.
So again, when I asked cancer centers and people across the country also approached them, what are you doing for Lung Cancer Awareness Month? And basically we were being dismissed or ignored or just downright humiliated. We took power into our own hands, created this white ribbon Pierre did for me out of my total frustration, put it on the front door, tried to educate my community. But what happened naturally was just amazing. I put a picture of this on a private Facebook page for people in Colorado who were advocating. And I also had ribbons around my trees, white ribbons, and around my mailbox. And I said, look, we're not powerless. We can do something. You can tie a ribbon around your tree. And what I got back was, well, what's that on the door? And they loved it. And Pierre, he'd make one for us. And we started making them. And then people started taking pictures and putting them on social media. And before I knew it, the country wanted them and Canada wanted them. And people weren't ashamed to say that they had lung cancer. We couldn't make these fast enough. And so now we have a movement where we're starting conversations across the country and changing the messaging and imaging by ourselves. We have been waiting for institutional messaging to change, to show hopeful figures, to show that this doesn't have to be a death sentence. And if I did qualify for screening, let's say I had a 20-pack year history of smoking, if I saw those images on television, I probably wouldn't want to know. And we want to get our real stories out there, people out there. There is hope today, even in a late stage diagnosis.
Yeah, we want anyone who's been affected by lung cancer to mobilize and start asking for more research money for lung cancer. The 5-year survival rate for lung cancer currently in the United States is around 22%. For breast cancer, it's 90%. For prostate cancer, it's close to 95% or more. So we need institutions and clinicians that treat lung cancer. We need anybody who's been affected by lung cancer to really stand up and sort of say, look, we need to change the course. And the way to change the course is through more research funding to develop better treatments.
And understand that anyone with lungs can get lung cancer. No one deserves it. And we have to keep going, changing the messaging.
Awesome, man. These folks are amazing. I mean, you see it through that act of Pierre making a ribbon. Heidi was mad, and instead of just being mad, so again, we're talking about football. Football, you're mad because your team is not winning, right? We have a bad team in terms of lung cancer. So you're mad about that. What do? All right. You have to commit to something else, all right? We have to take a hard look at ourselves. And like I said, historically, all we talked about is getting people to stop smoking. So literally that would be within the sports concept is that there are 5 things that you can control. That is showing up ready to go, conditioning, fundamentals, knowledge, and character, right? And so if you're a part of a ball team and it's like, we're struggling, but you're only committed to showing up, right? You're not committed to condition. You're not committed to fundamentals or knowledge or character. It would be obvious why they're losing, right? So the lung cancer community is the same thing. How do we define winning? Before it was just showing up. It was just prevention. We are changing the face of lung cancer. Says survivorship has to be the goal. And we have to have full commitment to early detection, treatment, research, and survivorship, along with what we've had before. And then the other side of it, it's not just about survivors and caregivers. As amazing as Heidi and Pierre are, they're not just survivors and caregivers too. Heidi is a community health worker. Pierre is a primary care doc. And it says we have to have the medical community involved. So the White Ribbon Project is an inclusive community, not just survivors, not just caregivers, but doctors, community, everyone. We need all of our people to be able to get that done, unbranded, because it's bigger than any one organization. It is not about longevity, American Lung Association, American Cancer Society. It's not about just one of those groups. It is all of us that have to work together. It's a program built on love, right? When Heidi got that ribbon from Pierre, it was about love, and they've given them out. They've made now over 3,000 ribbons. They've sent them out over. They drove across the country, from Denver down south, up the East Coast, all the way around. It was a tour of love. That's what they're doing, spreading love. That's why I hang out with you.
Chris, I love it. Guys, we're just about out of time. I do want to ask one question before we close this down. And frankly, that is this. If people want to support the White Ribbon Project, if they want to connect with you, if they want to ask you to speak, or Chris, ask you to speak, how can folks get a hold of you? And with that, we'll close it out.
Well, you can go to our website at the White
www.thewhiteribonproject.org.
And we have all the information there, how to contact us by email, read about what we're trying to do. But really, we ask that if you've been affected by lung cancer, just stand up and share your story.
We have the power to change the message.
And encourage more research money for lung cancer.
Awesome. Make sure you can look on Instagram. It says the White Ribbon Project. It's the WRP4LC on Twitter. You can look for me. I'm just Chris Drabner. You're going to see a whole bunch of White Ribbon Projects. But here's what I want you to know. I want you to know this is not just for a survivor. It's not just for a caregiver. If you lost somebody, if you know somebody, it can be for you. Because what we're saying, this is a community of people, of parts. So just like that, not everybody's the quarterback, not everybody's an offensive lineman, not everybody's the defensive lineman, not everybody's in the marketing department, not in the PR, not everybody. We need everyone. Our fans that are in the stadium, outside the stadium, we need everybody. It is the same as football. We all play in different positions, but we need everybody if we want to be successful.
Chris, that's a great message. Folks, my name is Kayla Brad. I'm joining you with Roy Kessel, Chris Draft, Heidi and Pierre, making a difference. And I just want to say thank you to each of you for the work you're doing to create hope and possibility. It makes such a difference. Roy, will you close us out?
I just want to say, Chris, Heidi, Pierre, you've done an incredible job building the community. We see the white ribbons all over the country. I think Chris travels full time, must have a few million miles from flights over the last couple of years, and you're doing an incredible job promoting the importance of this awareness, and hope we can raise the testing to that caliber. So thank you so much for joining us. To all our viewers and listeners, we appreciate you taking the time to join us here live from Radio Row. This is Roy Kessel signing off with Kayla Branham for the Sports Philanthropy Network. Please remember to live generously.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.